Gender inequality is, unfortunately, a fairly common sight to see in state-level societies. These societies, the most stratified when compared to groups such as bands or chiefdoms, tend to enforce strict rules and cultural views on what each gender is capable and deserving of. This inevitably leads to inequality between the sexes and genders, commonly appearing in the workplace in the form of pay discrimination. This is Texas A&M assistant football coach Mike Elko, also known as the third highest paid employee in the state of Texas as of the year 2016. Elko makes more money in 1 year than even the president of Texas A&M University, Mr. Michael K. Young. You may ask, what does this have to do with anything? And I would tell you that it has to do with everything. The fact that the first woman on this list, Miss Karen Aston, comes in at a very low number 20, despite the fact that she's the head basketball coach of Texas University at Austin's women's team, goes just to show the inequalities between race and gender, completely disregarding performance. This is just one example of gender equality in the workplace, in this case, the wage gap. While the Equal Pay Act of 1963 made pay discrimination on the basis of sex, gender, and race completely illegal, the unfortunate truth is that people have simply found other ways to enact pay discrimination. For instance, did you know that according to the Economic Policy Institute, or EPI, 70% of minimum wage jobs are worked by women? This is because of what is known as the glass escalator and glass ceiling. Men are way more likely to be hired for managerial positions, promotions, or higher echelon career fields than women, as they are quote-unquote more capable of doing them after the progression out of the 1980s and 1990s job market, while the women are stuck in the lower tier jobs. While men thrive in their top tier jobs, women are stopped by a glass ceiling, which prevents them on obtaining the upward momentum required to achieve some senior level jobs. More often than not, they will always lose out to men for these jobs. The article Unequal Pay, The Role of Gender by Mohammed G. Al-Qadri and Leslie E. Tower presents studies that have found them, regardless of if they are male-dominated, gender-balanced, or female-dominated sectors, men were way more likely to be found to receive promotions into more rewarding jobs. Gender pay discrimination is common in many workplaces all over the world. Texas A&M University is a diverse, tight-knit community. However, as we know, it was not always that way. Aggieland began way back in 1876 as a white male-only university. Women were first admitted to Texas A&M University in 1963, while female professors have only been employed at Texas A&M University for 50 out of the 153-year lifespan. Because of Aggieland's history, we decided to discover if gender pay discrimination was occurring on our campus. To discover this, we emailed and interviewed several professors in the Department of Sociology and other departments, asking them for an interview discussing their starting salary. For this interview, we asked 4 simple questions. We asked, what was your level of education before being hired? Did you have any prior experience, and if so, what was it? How much money was initially offered? And did you have to negotiate to increase the value? As visualized by the table below, we were only able to get male professors to agree to the interviews. As you can see, each male professor finished with a PhD when they were asked to fill in. Only 2 had prior experience, while the annual salary offered was around $50,000 each. None of them had to negotiate. Luckily for us, the state of Texas publishes the annual salaries for professors. As you can see in the second table, the male professor of a Hispanic/Latino race was hired on July 1st, 2017, with a 9-month salary of $85,000. Both female professors of different ethnicities were hired years beforehand and still only made $10,000 less, roughly. According to credible sources such as doughroller.net, Professor Kurt Stanbury, and various amounts of research from hundreds of universities throughout the country, even accounting for factors such as industry, marital status, and experience, women still earn on average only 80 cents per every dollar that a man makes. Now, what can we do to help prevent this disaster in the future? What can we do to finally treat every human equally? What can we do as a society to treat women equally to men? Well, Texas A&M University has already had solutions in place to help with the problem. Since 2014, the flagship University of Texas has created and performed salary negotiation workshops as well as gender and ethnic equity adjustments for employee compensation. The major step here is recognizing the problem and spreading awareness. I have no doubt that if we work as a union to solve this issue, we will be in a better place morally, financially, and physically. Let's beat the hell out of gender inequality. Thanks, and gig 'em.